Anybody wants to start it off? This is the fucking.
This is your show. It's not my job.
This is our show, but at the same time, we're supposed to say as much stupid shit as possible.
You're off to a good start.
Yeah, that's a fair enough
We're just
point.
rambling, man.
Superman is Bruce Wayne. See,
that was nice. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was random as fuck.
Yeah.
You were wearing a Batman shirt, so I figured it was appropriate.
That's
so,
fair.
welcome to the Goon Squadcast featuring myself, Andrew Massacre, and
Me, Vash, D.
Vash D.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm
All right,
gonna go
all right.
with.
So
I'm gonna
this
make it
is-
stick. I'm gonna try to make it stick.
Do I need a cool gang name too? Or
We can
If
give
you
a
want to
cool
come up
gang
with a
name.
cool gang name,
I'll go with Joey the Squid.
Joey the
Yeah,
Squid.
It's my criminal underworld nickname.
That is his. Damn.
Criminal.
That makes me
Underworld.
curious as to your background there. Today we are actually honored to be in the Alley Theater on the soundstage recording this, which is fucking awesome.
We're moving on up.
Hell yeah. But we are sitting here with,
Joey Arena, artistic director of the Alley Theater.
yes sir, rock and roll. Okay, so thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, anytime. We'd love to have you in future episodes if this goes well enough, which I imagine it probably will. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. So let's go ahead and start things up. Let's talk about, I think something that interests me right now is your origin story. Every person has an origin story of
He's
where
Batman.
they started.
He's Batman. That's what he is.
Look,
He's
Yes,
Batman.
my parents were murdered in an alley.
You don't fucking tell people if you know who Batman is. If you tell people, you die.
Then I'm going to be the Joker.
First ever black Joker. You
We
heard
must
it here
kill
first.
The Batsman.
Yes!
Sadly, my parents are actually still alive. Not sadly. I mean, I
about to say, where's this-
love my parents.
Where's this going?
No, I started acting when I was a kid. Like, I think it was in my first play at 5, 6 years old.
Damn, dude, that's pretty young.
And then a couple little commercials and stuff like that, and I really loved it. And so as I,
What kind of commercials did you do?
we did like school system commercials, did a McDonald's commercial. Yeah, I still get like a 3-cent check for that once every
that's
10
nice.
years.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's fucking, I mean, look,
I think it's
that
showing
stacks
in,
up.
I think it's showing in Japan or something right now. And just I just always wanted to be on stage, and I loved being on stage, and I was on stage constantly growing up. My mother was super supportive of that. Gave me an excuse to get out of violin lessons and ballet and figure skating. She wanted a girl, obviously. I have a sister who played field hockey.
She wanted a girl, but I mean, she got a guy that's really into live entertainment either way. So hey, worked out in her favor somewhat.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever played a girl?
Yes, we did. When we opened the alley in the, I guess 97 or 98, we did a play called The Vampire Lesbians of Sodom at the original alley. And
This
yeah.
is not quite what your mother was looking for.
No, she came to see that. She did not enjoy it, but she came to see it. And I was the butler Etienne, who was essentially a total ripoff of Riff Raff from Rocky Horror, which I had done at the Vogue Theater for years through the 80s.
Remind me, Riff Raff is
He's Richard O'Brien, who wrote it. He's the butler.
He's the one that talks like
yeah,
this.
he's the one that talks like, "You've arrived on a rather special night. It's one of the masters' affairs."
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So Etienne was the ripoff of that in this play by Charles Bush, who was a professor, I think, at CalArts. And then Scott Davis, our producing director, who was another founder of this theater, or the founder of this theater, really. He was the succubus, who was a drag queen character that Bush had written for himself.
What the fuck, man?
It was a time-traveling vampire play, and one night Scott and I just swapped roles, and I threw on the very uncomfortable dress that oddly belonged to my ex-wife.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't my ex-wife at the time.
She wasn't a succubus yet, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
no, I wasn't clear yet on that. And so I did that, but I've done very few drag roles on stage. I think that and going as my mom for Halloween one year because I thought it was funny.
To your credit, I don't think necessarily that people realize that succubi are succubi until it's too late, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So then you got divorced and it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, it's like a guy wearing a T-shirt that says, "Hi, I'm a serial killer."
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just you don't get what you're looking for. At that
Married a
point.
fucking axe murderer.
Exactly.
So back to your
Yeah. So always acting, growing up,
Right.
And then after. Gosh, in the mid-'90s, I did a lot of theater around town. And then in the mid-'90s, I went to the Performing Arts High School and graduated in '85. That's where I met Scott Davis, who is, again, the producing director of this theater. And Scott and I became really good friends. We've been hearing for years about each other. Like, oh, you got to meet this guy, Joey Arena. He's just like you. You got to meet Scott Davis. You guys are just basically the same person.
Right.
And then one day we all cut school and went to see Dune the Lynch movie, at the Showcase Cinemas, now closed. And Scott and I met for the first time. And we became good friends. And then Scott went off to LA, came back, opened a coffee house on Bardstown Road on Baxter Avenue, across from the Outlook Inn, called Highland Grounds. Then we opened the Alley Theater in the back of Highland Grounds.
Is Highland Grounds still open?
It's Diorio's Pizza now. It's been 100 things.
That's weird.
Lambs. It was Atmospheres. It's been nightclubs and restaurants for
the guitarist
days.
of my band. I had band practice yesterday, and the guitarist of my band actually just went to Diorio's last night.
Yeah.
That's weird as shit.
And the kitchen is where the kitchen is raised up, and that used to be the stage of the Alley Theater.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. There's the one thing I love about living in Louisville.
Hidden gems, man.
Yeah, the hidden gems, the hidden history of the town. All this shit you just don't know about these buildings. These buildings tell a story, and if you find the right person, they will tell you an intricate and interesting story. Okay, so you got to your education right there, and you got to the theater.
And I had after YPass, I had gone to a couple different colleges.
You went to YPass?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a theater major at YPass, graduated in 85, then went off to a few different colleges, ended up at UK, where I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Came back to Louisville. Then Scott was opening the coffee shop, so then we opened the Alley.
Right.
And that went really well for quite a while. Well, no, that's not education, but that's, I guess, the history of it. And that went well. We closed down after a while, moved to another location after another while, moved to yet a third location in Butchertown after a while, and then finally moved here to Main Street just over 2 years ago.
Man, you guys moved everywhere.
We did. We were on Baxter Avenue, which was a fantastic location. And you know, there are those locations and places. Sometimes it's a nightclub, sometimes it's a bar, sometimes it's a theater that are just the exact right place and the exact right time, and it makes it magic. You know, and there's nothing like it. There will never be anything like it. And that was the Alley.
Pure luck of discovery.
Yeah. It was.
Bardstown is definitely a good area for like anything. It'll just
it was a great location
towards that area.
It's. I don't want to misuse this term. I'm not going to use the term. Never mind, because I'll wind up fucking up really bad, falling flat on my face on my own podcast. So cool. Okay, so we got to the Alley Theater. Tell us a little bit. Well, actually, this is something I haven't heard from you yet. While you're giving us your backstory, what were you actually interested in doing plays, or was this just something that started out young and you just kind of picked up and said, "Well, I'm decent enough at it, just keep going"?
I don't know how I started. I literally don't know why I was on stage for the first time. I should probably ask my mom. She'll know.
Well, you said you were 5, right?
Yeah, and I don't know whether I think it was because probably my best friend at the time was an actor. He was in all sorts of after school specials.
And his parents were probably like, "Well, you should try this with your kid."
And it could be that I just showed up with Louis at an audition one day, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll take the cute blonde kid, and then we'll take the weird little kid with the brown hair."
He's got the look.
He's with the kid who has the look. So
there's 6 other moms who are like, "This is bullshit."
Probably
This is
At
bullshit.
the time, he was the Sacha Baron Cohen.
He was the Sacha Baron Cohen.
No, is it Sacha Baron Cohen?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Who's the Michael Cera?
Michael Cera.
Dude,
Yeah.
Michael
how
Cera.
the fuck do
I
you
know,
even
dude,
get that confused?
That's my favorite. That's like my favorite movie too, and that's one of my favorites.
My favorite theory is that Michael Cera walked onto set. They put him in the movie, and he was too awkward to tell him, "Hey, I'm not an actor." And he's been doing that same bit ever since.
That internet meme. Every time I see it, as much as I hate to say it, I actually like it.
It's
every
hysterical.
time.
Yeah.
But it's so accurate because Michael Cera's got that weird thing where
Hey guys, how's everybody?
it's like, why is he? You see him in Superbad, and I'm like, how the fuck did you get an acting career?
It's a good point.
But he did, and he knocked it out of the park with. That's actually the movie that made me like Michael Cera.
Then you see him, and this is the end, and he's a completely different person. You're like, I bet that's how he really acts. I guess I dig.
So, personal life. What is your personal life like? Now, past, whatever you want to open up.
Well, I'm always busy. That's kind of I'm engaged to be married. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Natalie, my fiance, will tell you that I am always busy. I'm always doing something. For years, I did the theater. And then after that, my ex-wife and I started a haunted house down the street from the old alley called the Baxter Avenue Morgue. Then I got out of the haunt business for a while, got back into the theater business for a while.
Haunt business is awesome.
And it's unlike anything else.
I've done a couple of haunts for a friend of mine.
Yeah, and
it's some fun stuff.
I'm now trying to do the hard part, which is do both of these. I've taken the job as artistic director here, and I'm also the stage manager and designer of Zombie City at the Silent Haunted Scream Park, which I started last year.
Motherfucker, I actually went. That was my first time going to haunted house. Was actually last year, and that's where I went. I didn't get to go to Zombie City. I went through the
Darkness Falls.
Yeah, Darkness Falls, which happens to be the name of one of my favorite songs by Killswitch Engage, which was legit. So of course I took a picture in front of the sign like every other asshole does.
Sure.
The entire time I was walking through there, I spent just specifically talking about. I was trying to up myself and not get scared, and the only reason why I was as scared as I was is because I was afraid people were going to grab me.
Sure.
That was my one. That was my snap. That's when I go from yeah, whatever. You know?
I've been designing haunted houses for 14 years now, and I still scream like a little girl. Don't
Really?
feel bad. Absolutely.
Okay.
Not in my own haunts. I know what's coming there.
I was
But
creeped
I go
out.
through any other haunt, and I'm terrified.
I was creeped out. There's some characters in there that made me feel kind of uncomfortable, but at the same time, I actually enjoyed more of it for the essence because I'm already a fan of horror.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a well done haunt.
It is, and it's fun. It's really fun. I think the only thing I didn't really like that much was the Weeping Bride.
Yeah.
That one was kind of whatever. I did like, was it Bumpo the Clown?
Oh, Pogo.
Or Pogo the Clown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was really entertaining.
Yeah, Pogo is an interesting fellow.
I also saw well, I'm not going to ruin that, actually. I'm going to stop talking about that so you guys get scared shitless next year because I don't want to be responsible for that specific thing.
And I did get that job because I directed here at the Alley a play called Evil Dead the Musical based on the Sam Raimi.
I still haven't fucking seen that. My friend Carrie was in the last one.
Yeah, Carrie Sharpenberger. She's a really nice girl.
She's
very talented
amazing.
actress.
She's
I didn't
awesome.
direct that one, so I didn't work with her, but she's very, very good. I did get the job because they were looking for someone to take over that particular part of the haunt who had theatrical directing experience as well as haunted house experience.
So
I had the
naturally.
morgue and I had all of this, so yeah, it was a perfect fit. And that's what presaged Evil Dead the Musical is what presaged our move to Butchertown a few years ago when we finally reopened after a few years off. Scott was reopening the theater at the point in Butchertown, and my friend Jake Wheat had discovered Evil Dead the Musical. And Jake had used to do a radio show and had interviewed us from the morgue, and we knew each other through there. And he brought it to me, and he's like, "You have to be the one to direct this show." And that was my first really big directorial production, and that's how the directing part started. We did Evil Dead. It was a huge success. It was a fantastic play, an amazingly talented cast. We did it again a few years, and that's when I started directing at the theater. So I directed off and on some fantastic shows and some terrible shows. Won't name the terrible ones, but
I was gonna say I'd imagine nobody really wants to talk about the terrible ones, but at the same time, you do good, you do bad, but at the end of the day, you're still doing something.
absolutely
Nobody can take that
And
away from
the worst play, I literally got the worst review I've ever read in Louisville theater for one of the plays that I did, and that humbled me a little bit and made me really kind of reevaluate how I did things.
Was there anything in that review that
Not
sticks
a
to your
single,
mind?
Oh, that sticks in my mind. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say, was there anything good?
Just
no,
like-
there was a sentence that essentially translated almost directly into Joey Arena is personally ruining Louisville theater.
Holy shit! High five! High five! That's fucking awesome.
High praise indeed.
Single-handedly destroyed the
And oddly,
Holy shit! What
Louisville
an
theater
asshole!
yeah, and
With one play.
I mean, the
Mic
play,
drop, boom.
The play wasn't
Oh my God.
great, but and one of those actors actually still works with me. So
Thank God
Yeah.
you still kept your connections. Even,
Wow.
I mean, I don't mean to like shorten you there. It just that's like, I mean, you gotta look at your past sometimes and look at where you got ribbed, man. Where you got ripped into. You just gotta go, man, that guy was a fucking asshole.
Well,
That's
it was
awesome.
it was a she was certainly personally attacking me in the theater. On the other hand, it wasn't undeserved, the bad review. She went a little over the top, but
Yeah.
the review itself was fair.
Well,
was
she
a
made it
terrible play.
personal. She shouldn't. That's one thing you don't want to do in a review. You don't want to make it personal because then
Well, but all reviews are personal opinions. It's just your opinion.
Well,
you
yeah, it's
know?
true.
And if you hate me, but you like the play, you're probably going to write a decent review. You hate me and you hated the play, you're going to get a hard on.
You're gonna get your
to-
asshole.
To quote somebody I look up to, just for the specific part. What was the quote? I
Why
lost
are
it
you
just that
keep-
fast.
stop
No,
quoting
because
things,
this
man.
actually
You're gonna-
pertains to it. That's just like your opinion or whatever, man.
Oh yeah, that's just your opinion, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude. All right. So, are there any past productions you'd like to speak of besides Evil Dead?
Well,
You don't have to talk about your bad ones. We won't worry about that.
We won't leave those out. Some of the ones that I'm the proudest of, Evil Dead the Musical, obviously. Also, we did a phenomenal production that I was lucky enough to direct at the Bardstown Theater called Bug, of the Michael Shannon, what's her name? Ashley Judd movie.
That's the. I actually didn't get to see it, but I heard it was really good.
That's a really intense script, a really good movie, fantastic performance. Michael is from Lexington, And I'd done some theater with him when I was at UK.
So much talent that comes out of Kentucky, and yet every time they get big-headed, they're like, "Oh, they never fucking talk about it."
Yeah, well, I think the only one we got going currently is with Jennifer Lawrence, and she's
Who went to high school with me.
Yeah, she's a very sweet girl, from what I understand.
See, I don't remember it that way, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shit on Jennifer Lawrence, but what I am going to say is this is the only memory I have of
Hey,
Jennifer
man,
Lawrence.
don't get Hunger Games.
I don't give a
I'm not
fuck
gonna get
about
going.
Hunger Games. All right, we're not even going to go to fucking Hunger Games. No, there was one time I saw her in the hallway when I went to camera. I just remember her hair was braided, and in my head, I don't know what clicked. I don't know what it was. I guess it was coming
She
from.
was thugged out.
Yeah, dude, she had like cornrows, like blonde cornrows. I'm like, like what the fuck? I'm staying away from this girl. Like, what the hell?
He got fucked out by Jennifer
And no,
Lawrence.
she did. I think she shot me the same look. I think she shot everybody back then, which was, and it wasn't even really mean mugging. It was just
with
like,
sour
don't
duck
talk to
face?
me. I'm different or something. I don't know.
Hey, man,
I'm not gonna.
Actors are weird.
Oh no, I'm
Weird-
completely aware. I know some
weird
actors.
people. But other, the past performances we do a show called William Shakespeare, the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged, which is myself, Scott Davis, that I was talking about earlier, and J.P. Lehman Good, who you guys know from sitting out there earlier and from previous experience. It's a 3-man show where we do all of Shakespeare's plays in 90 minutes with just 3 actors, and it's one of our favorite shows. It's a brilliant comedy, obviously.
I'm sorry, 3 plays in 90 minutes.
No, all of Shakespeare's plays, which is 12, with 3 actors in 90 minutes.
How did?
We don't do. It's good. It's abridged.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
That's even has to be in the title.
I think I missed that when you mentioned that.
It's a comedy. We don't take it seriously, but we do that, and we're doing it again in November, which will probably be our last run of it since we're all too old to do it.
Yeah, what's the date of that one?
That's November 11th, I believe. We're doing it in conjunction with the Fraser Museum's First Folio exhibit, where they
Very
have Shakespeare's
cool.
First Folio on tour.
I'm gonna try and catch that one.
That is a fantastic show. And the 3 of us have known each other so long. We've worked together so many times as actors that we really have a fantastic rapport. Yeah,
each other real
absolutely.
Well. Those are always the best. Always
Yeah,
the best.
it's a real ensemble thing. So we've done that a few times. Our Star Trek play that we wrote 2 years ago and did. Star Trek Boldly Going Way Too Far, that mashes up all of the Star Treks into one time travel Q continuum nonsense show. We're doing that. Obviously, I'm the bald white guy, so I'm Picard. But oddly, Spock also. We're doing that again.
Spock hard.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Spock hard. I mean, that could work. It'd be interesting to see a character
just
that fights with himself.
I find your
just bringing new
syllogism quite
characters in.
illogical. Would be the Spock line for that.
I actually think I saw the poster for that.
Yeah, it's a little rude. Most people miss when you look at it again on your way out, notice that the nacelles on the Enterprise are configured to do this.
Oh God! If
That's the middle finger in case you're on radio.
I was about to say, yeah, anybody listening to this probably can't see that. I'm guilty of doing the same thing of fucking recording something and making faces and shit. And I'm just dumb enough to think that. They can imagine.
see this.
They can fucking see it. Yeah.
But all the productions that I'm super proud of here, a lot of them are original ones that we've written. A lot of them are ones that have been around that we've taken and made our own. We're a pop culture reference theater. It's our niche. It's what we do. It's what we love.
Yeah.
And that's why one of our mottos is theater for everybody.
Hell
because
yeah.
People like Star Trek, so that brings them into a theater. People like Star Wars, that brings them into a theater. People like comedy, that brings them into a theater.
Have you guys done Doctor Who?
We did. We did a
Yeah, you said it earlier.
Yeah, Doctor Who, Dr. Seuss mashup.
Just saying.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss and Dr. Who mashup, written by our former artistic director Todd Ziegler, called All the Who's in Whoville.
Yep.
That was a very, very fun play. He's taken that since he's left the theater. He's taken that on the road. Performed it again over this Christmas, and that was a great example of where we dance around the line on parody and things like that. We got a cease and desist letter from Dr. Seuss. Someone had sent in our script to them, and they wrote us a letter that said, "Hey, you're infringing on our copyright. You can't do this."
Isn't he fucking dead?
Well, no, yes, but his estate's still making
Right.
a shitload of money, so
I just-
somebody's going to protect that. But we have a lawyer on our board of directors for just such occasions, and she wrote a letter on our behalf that says, this falls squarely under parody law. We're allowed to do this. Here are the parody statutes that show that here's the percentages of your script that we're using, of your characters you're using, names, etc. Where on the other hand, the BBC thought it was so cool they put it on their website. They were like, "Hey, someone in Louisville, Kentucky, United States is doing a Doctor Who, Dr. Seuss mashup. How great is that?"
That's awesome.
So it's really we find that it's an interesting line around the copyright violations, because we can do Star Trek as long as we write it. It's a parody and all that. Then we're fine. We're very careful. We know our parody lines.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah. After actually the first time I came here, I was here to help put up a sign downstairs actually in the entrance, and one of your actors here, Alex, actually gave me a tour of the theater, and I noticed, of course, we're talking about posters.
Yeah.
I noticed these posters, and I started just kind of looking through them, and I realized something that these days the youth and whatnot. I mean, me being part of it, of course, but I see a lot of people on Facebook, social media, whatever. They're always looking for. Like I said, I think we talked about this before. I don't mean to sound offensive or anything. They're looking for bad movies, right? And they're always looking for something specific in these bad movies that they absolutely love about them, because nobody's going to sit there and watch a movie that's going to give them a goddamn headache,
right,
or give them cancer, whatever you want to fucking say. They're not going to watch it. But there's always something that they're looking for. And the thing that I've noticed about these plays, and from what I've been told about, or told from these actors, from you, from my friends that have worked here and done things here, is that they offer those things you're looking for in these like Hollywood B movies, but it's done 10 times better, and you get way more out of it.
Well, that's kind of part of our niche. We do parodies, we do send-ups. When we just finished a Harry Potter original musical that one of our staff members wrote.
I wanted to see that, and I didn't get a chance.
And the key to good parody is a love of the source material, and we love bad movies. We love movies. We point out we know what's ridiculous with them, and we embrace that. And so we can parody that. We can point it out to the fans. There's a lot in the upcoming show, William Shakespeare, Star Wars, where we're hitting a lot of those. Lucas didn't have a plan for the prequels when he wrote Star Wars, obviously, because there's so many inconsistencies, and we make every opportunity to point those out.
Hell yeah.
We
you made me a fan.
We don't ignore them. And the cast, half of the cast, or the cast that is in, several actors in this show are half of the cast of one of our, a show that was developed here, Star Wars in 60 Minutes or Less, which is the original trilogy done in 60 minutes or less. Obviously that's going to point out all the flaws and all the foibles of the first three Star Wars movies. And so I couldn't get away with not pointing some of them out with these guys in the cast. They're not going to let me get away with it. And I think it's hysterical.
Yeah.
This show is upcoming is based on Star Wars, which is not a comedy, but it's a funny show. It's not a parody. It has all the same elements. There's the adventure and the bad guys and the good guys and all the drama is there, but we can't avoid the comedy. R2-D2 is a girl on a Razor trike scooter.
Somebody told me that.
Yeah, and with that starting point, and C-3PO's in BMX gear painted gold.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So starting from that point, we can't pretend to take ourselves too seriously.
From the way you guys talk about it, I think something you should put on your sign is these plays would be found at Wild and Woolly's.
Oh, absolutely.
Video rental. Rest in peace, Wild and Woolly's. Yeah. So actually, that's actually our next topic is the play we're working on now, Star Wars. What is your level of involvement with this? What have you done? What can you tell us about it?
Well, this is my first show as the artistic director of the theater.
Right.
I've been involved in the theater, acting and directing and producing for 20 plus years.
Right.
However, I finally accepted the job as artistic director. So my job as artistic director is to come up with a comprehensive, cohesive season. Make sure, hire all the directors, make sure that we have a consistent look, that we have a consistent feel, that we have consistent quality. And so I wanted to kick it off with something amazing. First of all, you want to make a splash.
You do.
So this season is starting with William Shakespeare, Star Wars by Ian Dorsher.
Which the entire thing is written in iambic pentameter, which fucking blew me away. When I read the book, when I read the title, I was like, okay, that's got to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's obviously a Shakespearean scholar. There are jokes in there for Star Wars fans. There are jokes in there for Shakespeare fans. There are speeches that are the Crispin's Day speech from Henry V. Luke gets that. If Luke has a speech that starts out from Julius Caesar, friends, rebels, starfighters, lend me your ears.
Oh, awesome.
So my involvement is that A, I picked the play. B, then I'm also directing it. As it turns out, I'm also designed and built the set behind you, and I've also costumed the show. didn't want to do all those things, but as it turns out, that's where I ended up. So I'm the creative monster on top of it that gets my way on this particular show.
And what can we expect out of the show?
This show is going to be amazing. Seriously. And I'm not just because I'm directing it, not because it's my theater, but this show is hysterical. It's fantastic.
I mean, the book is sold really well, so I can imagine that the play is going to do really well.
And the book's 3 hours long when we read it, so we've done some cuts.
Obviously,
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, the play will top out at an hour 45 tops with intermission. So we had to do a fair amount of hacking and slashing through the script and some careful editing.
With a lightsaber?
Yes, with the lightsaber. And when we're done, let me show you guys my lightsabers because they're cool as hell.
That's what I heard actually walking in here from one of our guys.
Ones. But this show it's wonderful. If you're a Star Wars fan, it hits all the notes you need. All the characters are the characters that you come to expect with a little bit of a twist to them. The language is not a barrier, which was my big concern. Was after 15 minutes, this play was going to be boring because the joke would have been over.
Yeah,
but it isn't, and it doesn't get in the way. A lot of the actors, and including myself, have done a whole lot of Shakespeare throughout our lives. And the trick to Shakespeare is knowing what you're saying, and then the audience doesn't sit there and go, "I don't know what he's talking about. All I hear is blah 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 Shakespeare." But that hasn't been the case with this show. That's infinitely watchable. But it's funny, it's fun. We've got droids and stormtroopers and blasters and lightsabers and everything.
Are your stormtroopers accurate?
Our stormtroopers can't hit anything. They wing one rebel, and that's the best they do. And I mean, even the stage, if you look behind you, you might notice is actually shaped like the Millennium Falcon.
I also noticed there's gunshots all over the walls and even out in the crowd, but it doesn't look like it's going to hit anyone.
Yeah. No, like I said, our stormtroopers basically could be Cobra commandos from G.I. Joe or red shirts from Star Trek. I mean,
or really bad AI from video games. Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you guys decide who shot first?
I'm not going to give that away. That's actually is addressed in the show, and it's my favorite line in the play, and I'm not telling you what it is.
All right. I'm completely okay with that. I'm completely satisfied with you not telling us. I was just curious. I figured I'd at least try.
Yeah, no. Desher puts that it's in his book, and that was the first time I genuinely laughed out loud and hard and had to put the book down when I was reading it.
That's awesome.
And my fiance was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was just like, "Listen to this."
Okay, so one last question for you. What does the future look like? What can we expect coming out of this year, future? I mean, what do you have planned?
Bigger and better. And that's my whole vision as artistic director boiled down to two things. Sell more tickets to better plays. I want more people to see as good a show as we can possibly put on. So we've got a couple of musicals coming up. Heather's the musical based on the cult 80s or 90s
Are you
film.
fucking kidding me? Don't fucking pull my leg. That's one of my favorites.
It's on the signboard out front.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't, dude, you don't fucking understand the history of Heather's, dude. That's Mean Girls, but way before Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fuck, this movie's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in my late 40s. I remember Heather's. Trust me.
I believe
and that's
it.
one reason we're doing it.
I have
The
to
director
fucking
of
see
that
that
show has been hounding me to do a different show. So I made a deal with her that if she directed Heather's, which she's excited about, then I would let her do Bat Boy, the musical. Based on there was an old national, was it the Inquirer or the Sun? It was the Sun, tabloid rag. Bat Boy found in cave, and you see Bat Boy, this kid with a bald head and huge ears, and it was a big thing, and it's a, before there were memes, it was a meme. Bat Boy would show up on the tabloids. You know, he was helping Dick Cheney hunting. He was seen on the moon. I mean, it was this ridiculous thing.
Cheney.
So there's a musical based on that.
Those were all joke magazines, right?
Oh yeah.
See, the thing, when I was a kid and I read Into the World, I fucking believed it every time I saw one of those magazines. It says,
the Weekly World News.
Angelina Jolie says the world's gonna burn because there's too much citrus or some crazy bullshit, and my dumb ass being a child, be like, oh my god, I'm never drinking orange juice again.
Quoted So I Married an Axe Murderer earlier.
Yeah.
There's that great line from that. Mike Myers it says, "Mom, the Weekly World News is not the paper." So we got those musicals. We've got Theater of Blood based on an old Vincent Price movie coming up. We're doing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a Tom Stoppard play that's brilliant. Takes the two smallest characters from Hamlet, who you don't even know which one's which because they're always referred to as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and it's never clear who's who in Hamlet. So he takes those characters and writes a whole play about them that they didn't exist really until they're called for in Hamlet, and they kind of just breeze through Hamlet as it's going on and go on with their lives. And it's one fantastic play. And we did it in our very first season when we opened back on Baxter Avenue, and we're going to do that again. Like I said, Theater of Blood based on the Vincent Price movie. We got Squirrel Lake coming up after this, which is this hysterical cabin drawing room comedy about a family reading their mom's will at the lake house, which of course is food for comedy. And then there's
Swan Lake, but with a squirrel. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to JP who's directing that. So we have a good varied season coming up. We've got comedies. It's all comedies. There's one or two dramas, but they're still funny. Some insane musicals. The Santaland Diaries by David Sedaris, which is about a tiny gay man getting a job as a Macy's Santaland elf over Christmas, and it's a riot. And so
that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a great book and a fantastic play. So that's this season. Next season, we're going to do more of the same. We're in the midst of writing an Empire Records musical.
Dude, that's one of my favorite movies.
And it's one of mine too, and that's why we're doing it. We've talked about everything from the A-Team to the Dukes of Hazzard. We've got some other musicals lined up. We're talking about doing Two Gentlemen of Lebowski, which is the Big cool. Lebowski, Shakespeareized.
Would you ever consider doing High Fidelity?
To me, High Fidelity was Empire Records. I'd already seen it, so High Fidelity just kind of disappeared. And I love John Cusack, but it never really made that mark with me. We might, I don't know.
That's not.
I mean, nothing is ever off the table at the Alley Theater. Trust me.
So we're actually at the end time of our podcast, on our Squadcast. Just real quick, what dates do we have? The Star Wars or Shakespeare Does Star Wars?
William Shakespeare Star Wars runs February 18th through through March. February 18th to March 11th, I believe. Runs for 4 weeks, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, starting February 18th. Tickets are available at www.thealleytheater.org, or you can find them through our Facebook page, which is just Facebook.com/The Alley Theater.
Very cool. How much are tickets?
Tickets are $25 for adults and $20 for seniors, students, and military.
Taking it a little bit easier on the bottom half there.
Sure.
Hell yeah. Okay, I can appreciate that. Well, this is going to do it for the Goon Squadcast. I'm Andrew Massacre.
Vash D.
And I was Joey Arena.
No, you weren't.
AKA
Joey the Squid.
Joey the Squid.
Joe, your fucking new nickname thanks to this show. So thank you very much for being on our show and just giving us a chance to come out here to Alley Theater. I think we're going to walk around and check it out a little bit here in a second.
Yeah, stick around and watch rehearsal if you want to spoil the play for yourselves.
Hell yeah, dude. Why not? So yeah, stay brutal. Andy Mass.
Squad.
Cheers.